they wouldn't understand why they would ever pay for your service. Now there's many event companies coming and going in Saskatoon and even Saskatchewan, and you're still here. You're very successful. You're just talking about how you are kind of just starting or reinventing. What makes you so different than everybody else?
I think first of all is tenacity. Even when I was growing up, if my dad or mom said, "You'll never be able to do that," it was like, just watch me. And you know, people go, even with my husband, I didn't realize I do this. He said, "Why can't you do something else but pioneering? You're always pioneering. You're doing condos, you're doing events, you're doing this teeth whitening," because there's this whole education process. And I guess because I'm older and I have more patience and I know what you need to do to get there. I also don't get overwhelmed. I try and focus, and people that know me know this, Sherry knows this. We went to a social media workshop that was like, 12 hours? I left after 8, I know.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Well, you met Carla." It's like, whoa, and I go, you know what, Sherry? I'm going to take the one thing I got from this, and it was videos. And I'm going to go with that one thing. I'm not going to get overwhelmed. Like, drill down on that one thing and be consistent with it. It's like social media. I know some people can balance all of it, but you know what? Not everybody really can. So take your marketing, drill down, do what you do well, and don't get overwhelmed with the other stuff. And you know what really helped me? I've done 9 marathons, and I think of it, if I walked into it going, 42K, I would never finish. But you walk into it, run for 10, walk for 1, run for 10, walk for 1. Pretty soon, 4 hours and 45 minutes are over, and
Pretty soon, yeah. And we spoke about being on a lot of boards throughout your years, and you have been in the community for a while. I'm not going to say a long time. Don't want to talk about age, but and business has been really good. So can you tell me? And you're giving back in a lot of ways. So can you give us a kind of an example of some of the stuff that you've done on a social side and give back and what boards you've been on?
Well, I grew up in a community, nothing got done unless they volunteered. I always say Mom sent me in the pie when I was 5 years old. So we were trained at a very young age, and we saw things happen in the community that wouldn't have happened. And even it was impressionable when I was young, like building rinks, like building rec centers. They wouldn't happen unless people got together. But the one that made the most impact on me was when I was in Edmonton and Dad's shop burnt down. And there was a collection of $3,500 in the community. And you don't hear about that. You know, that wasn't a nonprofit. You know, that was an individual. And that really made an impression on me. So I always knew I needed to give back. One of the first things that I did was with RE/MAX. I mean, real estate agents suck a lot of money out of the community. And I was looking for something that gave us a better, I think we're right up there with lawyers. And so RE/MAX in Regina did the very first jail and bail for the Cancer Society in Canada. And I talked to my colleague in Regina, and so I decided, okay, we're going to do it in Saskatoon. I went to the RE/MAX agents, and they were all coming home. And this is way before they aligned themselves with organizations to soften the hole. And we did the first jail and bail in Saskatoon, and I was the volunteer chair for that. And so I pulled together all the volunteers to make that happen, and it really worked well. Like, they saw how we got so much publicity in the paper, and it was fun. They had fun going out to jail. We had lawyers that were having fun judging people, like actual lawyers and judges. So I did that until I moved to Ottawa, and then I went to Ottawa, and I thought, well, you know what? This is the best way for me to get my name out there. And so I went to the Cancer Society, and they thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
They said, you know what, there is a jail and bail here, and the mayor's on it, and the chief of police is on it. And I said, well, how much do they make? And they said $30,000. I said, we make more than that on the first day. And they're like, I don't know if I'm going to go up against these guys. And I'm like, this is where, don't tell me. But I can't do it. So I decided, they were in the core of Edmonton, so I went to like one of the, not Orleans, but I can't even remember the name of it. It was a brand new mall, and they loved this idea because they just got behind us. They built the jail for us. And that was the year the senators were voting on the GST, and I knew a couple, so I got in touch with them. And we had limos pick up the senators and throw them in jail and it got so much publicity. And all I wanted to do was beat the $30,000 from these other guys. Well, we made $140,000 in those few days, and everybody had a great time. The Remax agents had never done anything like that. They had so much fun. And it's just so good for morale. So that was my first big ones. And I was, so the boards, I was on the board of Interval House when we did Adele House. See, this is really aging me. Abbeyfield Homes, I worked with Wally Law on that. Is anybody familiar with that? That's a project out, are you? Oh, of course. A few of us got together when we were looking, when our parents were getting to the age about going into long-term care, and we were seeing how expensive it was. I mean, there are situations where people can't afford the $3,500, $7,000 a month. But we wanted to build a project that whatever the income, like it was $1,200, would include everything. And so we raised enough money so that they were subsidized to $1,200. I thought this would be just an easy thing. It wasn't. It took 7 years. I was on that board, but I wanted to see it through. I don't think it's $1,200 now. We did get the property from Saskatchewan Housing out near the sanitarium.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful project. Charles Oldford actually designed it as a donation. And yeah, so that was a great project. But I should have known better. It would take longer because I came off a Sherbrooke Foundation capital campaign, which was $15 million. Seniors are really hard to raise money for because nobody wants to talk about it. But both projects were very worthwhile to me.
It is a beautiful home over there. It's actually a beautiful location now.
Oh, yeah.
Great work.
And I worked on the Briar, of course, CFQC, Louis Riel, Friends of the Library, Kiwanis Club, the Saskatchewan Provincial Summer Games, CIBC Run for the Cure, and then of course Saskatchewan Women's Network is not a non-profit organization, but I was one of the pioneers in starting that. Tamara's House, we did that as a contract through my company. That was a very interesting project for me because I think I was living inside the head of an Easter Bunny for a long time. And when I went out, they hired me to do their business plan. And when I went out and talked to some of the survivors, and I needed to interview them, we interviewed them as a whole because they said they'll never talk to you individually, just because of their safety issues. And so at this meeting, I stupidly said, if anybody wants to give me a call, talk to me. They all did. And I needed debriefing after that. It was just, it was insane. So you learn things like you can't have blinds because somebody's used the blinds. They can't sleep in their beds. They have to sleep in a closet. It was just a real eye-opener for me. And so for the capital campaign, I had to actually work with Frank Reamy. He built my custom homes when I was in Remax. And so this was his last project. He built it for them on Victoria Avenue. So it was so sad for me to see that whole project die a couple years ago. So these women, I know that they go to the West Side Clinic now, but it was just such a powerful project to do. I actually worked with the Utah Foundation. They, I had done an application, and they had actually paid for our fee for the first 2 years for the capital. Didn't you do something? Yeah, we did that.
What a huge impact, though. That's a huge impact. So good for you. We have a large group of women and men here. What advice can you give them that they can take away today from all your experience? Oh, I didn't write that one down.
Did you skip over the dynamic person?
No, I'm not there yet. This is like an addition.
She doesn't know how to script myself today. Do you know what I say, I think we're really missing a lot is being kind to people. I talk to a lot of women in the community, not just the young women, but I talk to a lot of women entrepreneurs, and I can't believe how other women treat them. And this kindness just isn't there. I see so many faces here that I've been fortunate to get to know and work with, and I think if somebody reaches out to me, it was actually Brad Williams that said to me, I said, Brad, I spend 20% of my day answering questions. He said, you do it. Because somebody spent 20% of their day answering your question. So I say, you know what, let's help each other. It makes life so much easier. And also, I really think align your skill set with your personality. Like we always say, do what's you're really passionate about, but a lot of people don't know what they're passionate about. So align it with your personality. It is crucial to know what makes you excited and engaged. And it is really the only way to be successful, is if you're excited and engaged.